Okie dokie.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is the Jedi 08, also known as Jeremy the Jedi Guillory.
It's Mike. Hi, people.
All right. And this is the Broken Turnbuckle podcast. So we are talking today about the John Cena Randy Orton rivalry.
Yeah.
What brought this on was that after WrestleMania, John Cena did a promo and on Raw, and right afterwards, Randy Orton came out and snuck in an RKO, reestablishing their famous rivalry. So
I think they said the wrong pay per
WWE, you
view.
brought this on yourself
He
here.
said the wrong pay per view. It was WrestleMania, not SummerSlam. You're getting too ahead of yourself. It's like a week.
I
It's
was
like the
saving
day
this
after
for
SummerSlam.
SummerSlam. I was saving
Yeah,
this
I know.
topic for SummerSlam because I was
I know.
thinking that this would be the
I know. But
time.
we said after SummerSlam, Randy Orton confronted John Cena. No. It's after WrestleMania confronted him, giving TKO, not SummerSlam. So I'm correcting you on it. It was WrestleMania.
Right,
You're getting
right.
a little too ahead.
What happened at This happened after WrestleMania, but
That's what I was
what I
talking
was
about.
saying in the pre-show, in the pre-recording, is that we were going to save this topic for SummerSlam or so, because that was the time that I was estimating that they would actually do this rivalry, not for Backlash. Backlash
No.
is in 2 weeks, or actually, it's going to be next weekend. So
Yeah.
y'all are streamlining us to rush on this topic here.
All right.
So yeah. So
What's this?
this is a good rivalry for John Cena for his farewell tour. Um, you look at all of his other classic matches, rivalries. Cena and Orton stand out above all the rest, by all means. So obviously, yes, we would say that we want to see a Cena Orton match in this farewell tour. Is it too soon to say that they go ahead and have this at Backlash now, or do you think that they should have saved it for another time?
I think do backlash. You should never know if you do it later on. You don't know if Cena's going to be injured or it's going to be injured. Something else is going to happen. Because he needs someone. Orton need to come back get around. We started. And he saw the best thing. I think it's John Cena's. I get him into the ring again because he wanted to face him again. Basically, but he said that they're online, which you could save possibly a rematch for him and Orton and do a match now. Because down the line, there's other wrestlers he wants to wrestle before he retires. Besides Orton and Rhodes. He wants to wrestle a few other guys that he wrestled a long time ago with. Don't know which ones yet, but he wants to do a few more old rivalries and that end his career. Like to put it on these, basically. That's what fans want to see.
So, yeah. And you look at all the other people on the roster, I mean, the only others that would make sense for this would be either CM Punk or The Rock at this point, but The Rock didn't even show up.
Baraka can't wrestle because he's part of the committee. He's backstage. He's a part of the championship committee. He cannot wrestle. That's in his contract. He can only show up kind of time, but he cannot wrestle. That's the deal. He's retired. He's doing movies and stuff. He wants to be part of WWE. He's why he's part of the committee. It's why he trademarked the Rock name, stuff like that. He cannot wrestle. He knows this. He cannot get involved physically.
Okay, and who put it in that contract? Was it The Rock or was that
Well, The Rock retired after his last stint in there. I think he's done enough. You think once you some younger stars that come in, that's what they're WWE's not doing at time with Vince pushing the older stars. He's not committed to get younger stars in there. Why think put his daughter involved to get stupid new stars coming to NXT and stuff and make new stars? That's what these things are not people not doing. But since Vince did for him, he's giving back to the others. That's why he don't need a wrestler. He sit there and evaluate the new wrestlers coming in or any wrestler organization coming back, stuff like that. That way he can only get bigger, but the older superstars a lot bigger and the younger superstars a lot hungrier. You need two stars in to keep these live. Everybody knows that. He's just behind the scenes person from now on, so he'll chill from time to time, but doesn't need to. Got Triple H. There you go.
So fans that were going to be expecting a Rock versus Reigns WrestleMania, sorry to say, it looks like that's not going to happen.
It's not gonna happen. They tried it. They tried it. And they threw it up because Rock's the well, they weren't going to do that anyhow. I don't know. I don't know. Reigns is thinking taking time off, same as a lot of the wrestlers had been taking time off because he got recurring injuries. And rumor has it that he's still fighting his leukemia.
I do have some breaking news here from one of the groups. The Rock has been released by WWE. Insiders say that he demanded full creative control and guaranteed main event spot at next year's WrestleMania, but Triple H refused after The Rock no-showed at this year's event. Source, trust me, Oos.
Okay.
Cena Orton here. So we know that this is...
Before Cena Orton, did you read what happened about the new firings from WWE?
Yes, I did. Yes, I
Okay,
did.
so I don't know if you knew or not. I don't know if you knew or not. I'm shocked by some of the wrestlers.
I'm mostly shocked about Braun Strowman. Not surprised about Shayna Baszler.
Not really. They're using Dakota Kai, man. She's gone.
Some of these were just contract expires. Uh,
Yep.
uh, Chance
Mm-hmm.
and Dakota Kai and um, that tag team. I'm surprised that they let them go after their potential and things. I guess they just got too many tag teams on the roster that they don't have any space for.
Or just are cutting down again. It's again new blood coming in. Plus new blood coming in. But a lot of times, I think there's being TNA on some of the NXT roster that were already on the pay-per-views.
Yeah.
Think about it. Seems I think some are going to end up on there. AEW, I don't know.
Everyone's going to think that they're going to go to AEW. I think that since they
It's
have
going to
a
be
partnership with
TNA's got a better roster, a lot better opportunity than the AEW. It's all politics up there. TNA's just trying to wrestling back in there.
yeah. So
You got more stuff down there.
yeah. So
Let's get back to Randy and Sheeta. Sorry.
yeah. So here's what I think's really going on is that they're trying to do budget cuts to bring the new people in right now.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
what they are trying to do is say, well, we have a partnership with TNA. We don't own TNA. Let's see if
Nope.
TNA can at least get some of these guys back and prevent them from going to.
It'd be nice to get Strowman in there. Know why? If you get Strowman in there, Moose will have a run for his money. That'd be a good match. Him against Moose. That'd be a good match.
Yeah.
Battle of the Monsters.
Yeah. So what I think would have happened in their conversation is that, yeah, we're going to be releasing you. It's going to be 30 days, but we're going to negotiate with
90 days. The main roster 90 days. NXT 30 days. That's the difference.
90 days. So
90 days for the main.
he can't compete for 90 days, and what they're probably going to do is just try to get TNA to negotiate a contract with him for those 9 days. That way, he doesn't go to AEW. He doesn't start a new promotion or anything like that. They got him locked in. So there's that possibility.
Okay, well, let's get back to Orton and Cena so we won't get out of range again.
You think of that rivalry. What is the first match that comes up to your mind?
Well, like I said, I didn't watch a lot of WE back in the 2000s when they had the rivalry, but a lot of rivalries. So I think I think that a few years ago, I forgot what year when they went against each other for a title. I guess I forgot which one it is. It's been a while. So been a lot of them. Basically, those who go against each other. It's hard to name one good match. All matches are good.
They had really good classic matches.
It's
There's the
very hard to
TLC
choose.
match. There's the Breaking Point match. I Quit match. There's the Last Man Standing match. That stands
That was
out.
good. That
Um,
was a good one.
so yeah, there's also the Hell in a Cell match. Um, Iron Man match. I mean, there's several of them that actually went out their way for it, and I'm just surprised right now on what all they've said or done with that. Um,
Right.
so um, that this was a really good rivalry match that they picked out. As you said earlier, you believe that they did this to prevent any kind of injuries or anything.
Uh, yeah, but I'm basically saying there's going to be two matches at least. One warm up at Backlash,
Yeah,
and then I think SummerSlam is going to be the other. It's going to be a special team match. That's what I'm thinking. You know
ESPN
what I mean?
ESPN is predicting that SummerSlam is going to be a tag team match between John Cena and Travis, and versus Cody Rhodes and Bad Bunny. That's what they're predicting right now. But
Yeah,
um,
but you never know. He's not the other guy. He's not a wrestler. Bad Bunny trained to be a wrestler before he became a rapper. The other guy is just a rapper. He's not a wrestler.
but he's
Put him in the
trained.
ring. He's injured because Bad Bunny was. When I heard Bad Bunny when he was trying to start as a rapper, couldn't get any deals, so he trained to be a wrestler to bet something to back up on. Because he is a trained professional wrestler. At the same time, he's trying to be the rapper. He got both. A lot of people don't understand. He's trained by wrestling school. Every time he's trying to become a rapper.
Yeah,
A lot of people don't know that. Some of these people do other stuff, just in case wrestling don't turn out. I mean, the other thing don't turn out. Always have a backup plan. That's what he did.
exactly. So um,
Other guys got to get trained for it. They better be trained really good because what's going to happen is going to be a tag team.
true, true, and yeah, and they're also predicting that CM Punk is going to face John Cena at Saturday Night Main Event. Um, the only
Yep,
reason, the only
that's the possibility too.
Yeah, the only legit reason that they're giving out for this rivalry being now is because Backlash is going to be at St. Louis. So why we're better off to um, close out their chapter than to do St. Louis. So where would you rank their rivalry um, overall in the greatest feuds of all time?
Well, great rivalry, but basically there's a lot of great rivalries going on right now. You can't just put up way up there with the other stuff. But those are the big rivalries. It's very tough
Yeah,
to see about between 5 and 10 because you can't surpass the bigger rivalries like Austin McMahon or Austin Bret Hart
Austin
or
Rock.
DX and all that. You can't be the top five that far. It's not up there. Basically, there are a lot of good matches, but nothing spontaneous happens, unexpected. You already know all matches going to put all the crap in. You know it's going to end the same way. It's predictable basically. But they have good matches though, but not that's between I think about 7 is going to be for the rivalry because it's top 10, but it's not higher up.
Yeah.
It'll be a lower top 10, in my opinion. You cannot beat the real rivalries way back at the Attitude Era. They got the top 5. You're never going to beat those matches. That's the thing.
True, true. And the hardest thing when it comes to the rivalries, if we ever do a top 10 rivalries, WCW versus WWE, even though it's a promotional rivalry, it's going to have to be on that list for sure. Um, but
Yeah, well, my said top five rivalries. Yeah, yeah, it should be. We should do something like that.
yeah, yeah,
Our opinions, not the opinions of the wrestling enthusiast or whatever they put down. Just our opinions.
yeah. We've already done.
So,
We've opened this up with the top 10 greatest WrestleManias, top 10 worst WrestleManias. So obviously more lists are to come here. Um, if you've ever watched the top 10 WrestleManias, me and the previous host, we said that we discussed it for over 5 hours over on the um, podcast on how to rank this. And the thing is that 3 of those hours were on why is WrestleMania 30 ranked at number 8. And we had to really break it down match by match, moment by moment, every single thing. And people were still going to be like, well, why is this at number 8? Well, it's because the match quality, the storylines, what all happened. If they had
yep.
gone with the original um, format for it, it would not even have touched that list.
No.
It
What
would
it?
not have. CM Punk leaving the WWE actually saved them and made it into the top 10. Um,
Well, they were basically him and Vince weren't seeing really. That was a story that they put in the story on, but really, Vince had no faith in him whatsoever. Once he left Paul Heyman, he just grabbed him down where he had no faith in CM Punk. Everybody else did, but he didn't see it, and then he let his contract run out, and all this thing on the storyline, and then finally CM Punk just got pissed and popped the bomb, did everything he said happened backstage. By the time he got Vince McMahon, they cut his feet because he's going to tell something about Vince McMahon they didn't want him to tell. You know what I mean? He might have known some stuff about his situation that they cut his mic. Because Joe Pipe was he was being treated like shit after he lost the title. Went to ECW, everything fell apart, and Vince never liked him. Paul's the one that pushed him, not Vince. Paul had faith in him. Vince did not. But he's now back without Vince, and Triple H liked him, always liked him, and he brought him back. He said he liked the guy. Vince didn't like him; he's too small. But he's too clean cut too. It's like Kurt Angle was and all that.
yeah.
That's kind of interfering with that. So that's what I'm thinking. Reasons of that.
So when you talk about so when it comes to Randy Orton and John Cena,
Mm-hmm.
um, they their last match against each other, I believe, was the TLC match where they were unifying the
Yep.
titles.
Yeah, as I said, it's
That
too many
was
old good matches to rank from. You know,
yeah,
they had too many good matches.
they had really good matches. So
Mm-hmm. That's why it's so hard to figure out which one you want to pick. You know, they're all so good.
yeah, do you, do you think that Randy Orton is his greatest rival of all time?
Yes and no. Yes for the wrestling tigers. They're both professional wrestlers. They wrestle. Sometimes they cheat online. But when he goes against CM Punk, it's violent. It's up the next notch. It's very hard to compare him and a lot of these other wrestlers he's wrestled. You know, it's kind of hard to figure out which one. You know, which one's best rivalry.
Yeah,
Just like these days, it's too hard because they got so many good rivalries going out right now. Too many good matches. It's hard to pick.
yeah,
It's very hard to pick, in my opinion. A lot of people probably pick a few matches, but for me, it's hard. So it's like a lot of great matches those two had over the years.
you look at and you go back throughout all John Cena's career. You got Kurt Angle, he's retired now. Triple H,
Yep,
he's retired now.
yep. They're at the end of their careers. They're helping them get popular, basically helping them out. Like I said, next
Edge
generation.
is in in AEW now. Daniel
AEW, yeah.
Bryan is in AEW.
AEW.
Chris Jericho's in AEW.
AEW. He helped start it.
Yeah. So you look at all the ones that he's had classic matches with, the only two that are left in WWE that he has good chemistry with right now has been Randy Orton and CM Punk. You know that those two are
That's what
going
I'm
to be
saying.
in this farewell tour somewhere along
That's
the
what I'm,
line.
that's what I'm saying. But CM Punk wants to wrestle him in his final match. And if he's still champion, guess who's probably going to be the next champion?
CM Punk.
CM Punk. That's what I think they're saving it for. I think they're going to defend the title and then build up to that match. You know what I mean? That'd be a good match. Basically, just building everything up for John Cena to go after Punk.
So you disagree
Punk
with
grab the
the
title.
prediction?
Punk get the title.
So you
Well,
actually
basically, they did a lot of people when they were champion. Build them up. They kept the title till he retired. They dropped the title. A lot of wrestlers have done that over the years. Randy Orton is great. He'll probably get the title, probably not. But it's up to what they're doing. Or if Punk gets, or if he gets the title, he goes to SummerSlam, and then Cena gets the title back. There you go.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah. So you basically disagree with the Cody versus Cena in
Right,
December.
because the Cody match is probably going to happen between SummerSlam and Survivor Series because Punk wants to be. He told Cena that he wants to wrestle him last. He wants to be in his last match, unless they make it a fail three-way. Him, Cody, and Cena. That can happen too. Fail three-way. That happens
Yeah,
because they both want to be. They both want to wrestle him, but I think it might be a three-way to throw Punk in the mix. You never know what's going to happen.
yeah, yeah. But
You just
that's
never
going to
know.
be a retirement match where
For John
Cena
Cena.
is retiring from the WWE.
Right,
So
and if they
that's got
put
to be a
Cody and CM
one-on-one
Punk,
match.
yeah, it's probably gonna be CM Punk because they think because Cody was already injured. That's why he dropped the title. He already had the neck injury, and then the next week he got that, and then after that he got beaten up again just so he can get the neck fused. He just got his neck operated on. He just posted a post on Facebook.
You also have the fact that Cena is going into this match for his first title defense at number 17. So obviously, I believe that Cena is going to retain it um, because it's very rare that someone wins the championship and immediately loses. He's going to have to hold it on for a few
Yeah,
months.
yeah.
So even if they
That's
do,
everybody. That's everybody.
yeah, even if they do give it to Orton, this match at Backlash would not be it. If they decide to continue on the rivalry, then yeah, they can have Cena drop it to Orton later on. But this time, I'm convinced that Cena's got this one won. Um,
Yeah,
so
everybody's got their opinion, but I believe when I see it. That's why I don't make no opinions on matches when I think evenly match. Why, let's see how the match goes. If I know if it's not even and unpredictable, I know who's going to win. But this one is they're about even in wrestling, basically. You know, evenly match, evenly size. I can pick a winner.
yeah,
Between these two. One thing I liked about one of the WrestleManias, I forget which WrestleMania did Cena come back as the hip hopper? Was it 30? The Thugonomics one was at 30, I think. He came back at Thugonomics that one night.
I think that was
They first
30.
started. I think it was 30. He came back as Dr. Thugonomics, like his original character, I think it was. One WrestleMania. So I forget which one. I forget which one. That was funny when he came back out as some original rapper or something. That was funny that night.
No, it wasn't 30
I didn't know how to be.
because that one was against Bray Wyatt.
Yeah,
So
yeah, it had to be later than that.
he may have done it against The Rock. He may have done it. Um,
It wasn't Bray Wyatt. It wasn't Rock. I forgot who it was. I have to look it up. I forgot who it was.
yeah.
have to look it up sometime.
Yeah.
Okay, I got a question about Randy Orton.
Okay.
What do you think of him? What do you think of him that his father, both his father and grandfather were successful wrestlers, and why his uncle wasn't that successful in the Orton family? And then Randy came in and got more successful. What do you think that? Why is that? Barry Orton was very old though. Ham and what I can call ham and egg wrestlers. They weren't winning all the time. Do you think they should make Barry old a
You
star, or they
can't
think, or
say
kept?
you can't say that Randy Orton got the bigger push. But his father did have a lot to go with.
His
He
father is Bob Orton. He got the push. Barry Orton's the one
Yeah,
that didn't get the
yeah.
push. I
His
just want to make
father had
sure.
a good push. His father's in the Hall of Fame. His grandfather's still not in the Hall of Fame. Needs to be in the Hall of Fame. Um, his
Sorry, allergies.
Randy's uncle, I don't think ever had a career in WWE.
He was known as Barry O. He was the prelim wrestler to show the bigger wrestlers for like training purposes before the big matches. And he went against like some Randy Savage, Hulk Hogan,
Yeah,
Sergeant Slaughter one time. He went against a lot of these big wrestlers on regular TV. He's one of the older tier guys that never won anything.
yeah,
That is Bob Orton Jr.'s brother. He was known as Barry O at the time.
yeah,
You look him up sometime, you'll see what I'm talking about.
yeah,
It's from the older days when I was growing up in wrestling in the '80s. We had these other wrestlers coming in just to train just to get the other wrestlers to look good.
yeah.
You know,
So,
guys,
yeah,
that's what he was. He was the journeyman wrestler they called him
or a jobber
back
now.
then.
So, yeah, there's
Mm-hmm.
that issue
Yeah,
there. Um,
I don't know if you knew. I don't know if you knew him, and that's why I asked you that question. So,
yeah, yeah.
okay.
Of course, his wrestling style was before my time too.
Yeah, but a
So
lot of people usually go back. A lot of people on your team usually go back to the old '80s and '70s and look things up. A lot of people have
yeah,
done that,
yeah,
but a lot of people have not. You should go back to the '80s and '70s and really check out their fathers and stuff, what they did in professional wrestling, and find some good wrestlers there were back then. No one's ever heard of. A lot of good ones that never got pushed
yeah.
that no one's heard of.
And of course, the if they had a tag team match with Barry and Bob Orton, that would be a classic match or tag team by themselves. But um, throughout all my research coming in here, I didn't even see them have that match or anything. And
ESPN speculates a lot. Basically, the rest because the coach doesn't coach was the one that's doing all the speculating. Because he's part of
yeah,
ESPN. He's the one that does all the speculating post those posts.
yeah,
Because coach was now with ESPN. He's making his predictions.
yeah,
You know, he predicted a lot of stuff that didn't even come true. You know,
so
that's from him, not from ESPN. That's from coach from ESPN.
well, Coach also used to be in WWE as well.
Yeah, but he thinks he knows more than anybody, and a lot of predictions are wrong.
Yeah, and that's the thing with predictions is that when it comes to all the big guys or big
Yep.
name predictions, like Dave Meltzer and all those other guys,
Oh, Metzer. Oh,
Triple H really does look into those, and he's
yes.
like, okay, how can I be a complete asshole against this person and actually flip the script and say, hey,
Yeah.
they predicted this, we're going to go with this.
Yeah,
Um,
remember I told you. Remember I told you last week that Dark Side was almost done.
yeah,
It wasn't. Turns out they played.
definitely going to be one of our shorter podcasts here because there's really not much else to talk about with Randy Orton versus John Cena. I did put out a poll to see what our next topic should be. I put this one out there because of what WWE's been doing right now. And this one and AEW came super, super close. So next week we are definitely doing AEW, Rise and Fall of AEW.
All right.
We're going to be talking about
That's good.
what's going on with AEW right now, where they
Okay.
stand.
The one thing we didn't talk about is the legend killer part of Randy Orton. Before he went against Cena, and Cena started sticking his nose in and started the rivalry right there.
Yeah.
Cena, F and Cena came in and started pushing Randy, and then Randy stopped from Lunch Killer, and then that line was gone, and that's when him and Cena started right after the Lunch Killer thing. So he got sick of it.
Yes.
So he got sick of it.
Speaking of the Legend Killer gimmick, did Randy Orton ever try to RKO, blindside, or have a match against his father? I know he did a lot of legendary matches,
No,
but no.
no. They did it. Either one wanted to do it, but he kind of wanted to do it to get back as for people his father couldn't defeat, or tell him that he's better than his father and stuff. That's why his father, it would never happen. But storyline. I guess the older wrestlers, and then Cena got sick of it. It's a build up to get him a run with some other wrestler because he was not in the robbery right now. He was standstill. So they tried to find someone to go against him. They picked Cena because he had nothing to do basically with the new wrestlers because there's no one he get good rivalry with. And then he decided to put Cena, and that's what started right there.
Yeah.
To get someone to come in at the legislature to the rivalry, and that's what started right there. Cena stepped up. That's what started the rivalry right there. It wasn't for probably Legend Killer or whoever told Cena to go out there and start this, you wouldn't have this great feud right now. This rivalry.
So here's how the schedule's gonna go on the next few episodes.
Okie dokie.
Next week we're going to do episode 7 on AEW because that was the second most voted thing throughout all the posts I posted out.
Yeah.
Then episode 8 we are going to hit on the forbidden question that is asked by to every wrestling fan. Um, and it does get, and that question does get annoying for wrestling fans.
Yeah, it
That's
does.
why I call it the forbidden question.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, yeah. And how to answer it, what to do about it. So there's that.
We can try to answer it, but I don't think there's an answer.
Yeah, there's not an answer to it. Not
You can
not
try
a
to.
right answer, not a bad answer. Because there's always going to be a comeback to it.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yep.
everything else, but
Yep,
it
definitely.
has to be addressed. It has to be addressed. We're wrestling fans. It's got to
Yep.
be addressed sooner or
Yeah,
later.
old fans and the young fans.
Yeah.
That's what I call them.
And
Not the old.
then
Excuse me.
the next week, episode 9 is going to be a very special anniversary episode of Owen Hart. We're going to be talking about
That's probably going to be one of the longer ones. There's a lot to come up.
yeah, that's going to be a tribute
That'd be long.
show.
That'd
Us
be long.
reflecting about his career.
That's going to be really long, in my opinion, of all the podcasts we're going to be doing.
Yeah, so if it goes over 2 hours, we're sorry, but it is what it is.
Hey, when we talked about that, everybody going to get caught in the moment anyhow,
Yeah.
Everybody stay glued. Don't care how long it takes,
Yeah.
Happens.
Episode 10 is going to be the finger poke of doom and the fall of WCW.
Oh, Jesus. And we talked a little bit about that last week.
Yeah, we did.
Monday Night War thing.
Yeah.
We should do an episode on that. Should do an episode on that too. The Monday Night Wars. Do an episode on that. 'Cause I know I watched every single episode of the Wars, both sides. I got a lot of good opinion, a lot of good memories on that.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we're going to be talking about that revolve around those wars. So,
yeah, in the future. Yeah, do it in the future. Just all about Monday Night Wars. All about that. We can do that later on after we do these topics.
Yeah.
That'll be a good one to go through.
And finally, episode 11 is going to be about CM Punk. So it's going to be talking about his career, what all he's done, what his pipe bomb incident or reactions to it. If I can get an audio clip that's not going to get us copyrighted, I'm definitely.
Well, you gotta be careful on that.
Yeah, and I can be a heel sometimes
We all can be that. We all can be that way. We all got opinions. I have an opinion about Cody and all that stuff because, everybody's got their own opinion. You can't have the same opinion, because it's boring. You got the same opinion. If you have different opinion, it's more interesting than what we're talking about. Like we talked about Cody and CM Punk and all that, and we had our own opinions about that. We talked about that more, and it got more interesting because, everybody's talking about the same thing on things. Everybody's saying we have opposite opinions. That's fine. We're being honest. We're not forming language. I think bullshitting about this. We're just fans, longtime fans.
Yeah.
That's the thing. People think they're longtime fans, but they're not really longtime fans. That's the approach to me. People I know, people I know, I work with it. One guy I work with does this podcast with his buddy. I'm not saying his name, but they're diehard wrestling fans. I mean, they go back to old school too. They look at old school stuff. Because sometimes he wears this Macho Man hat. So they're old school. I've got podcasts there, but they're old school. So I like the old school stuff too, besides the new stuff. Plus, sometimes get interviews with some of the wrestlers because his buddy gets connections. That's the thing.
So yeah, and another thing is that when you talk to them at the Comic Cons, you also get to know, what they are outside of the ring.
Yeah, you have to be careful because sometimes they don't want it on the air.
Yeah,
that's the personal lives. Personal lives are separate from the professional lives.
We're not talking about personal lives. We're not talking.
I know, you know what I mean. Especially, you know what I mean. When they think you're talking about professional, sometimes you might be talking about trying to get into their personal lives too. They got to be careful. Thin line between the character and the person. It's a thin line you got to watch out for.
Yeah.
You don't want online, don't put it online. It's their respect. Because everybody gets a thin line, they go on the thin line trying to do like Metric does all the time. He goes behind a thin line trying to expose everything. I don't like Metric that much. He's an a-hole, in my opinion.
And
he's watching. I don't care because a lot of people, including Jim Cornette and everybody else, don't like him either. So there you go.
Yeah. And I've also talked to some of them regarding certain things that they've done, and
right.
Some of them are like, "Yeah, I hate that segment and things."
Yeah,
and
they
get forced. They agree with that. And
Vince forced a lot of people to do stuff they didn't want to do. Yeah. That's the thing, because Vince was doing his threatening and all that for a long time.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It was this man who's doing everything, trying to, screw job him.
Yeah.
He's not there anymore, so now no more screw jobbing.
Yeah. So,
that's why a lot of people say they liked some of the angles they did.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's why when I start doing the No Topics Barred
right.
episodes, what we're going to be asking them is there anything that you regret, any segments that you regret doing, anything that you have
a lot of regrets. Yep.
Anything that you think that should actually stand out in your career that actually doesn't? Are there any special matches that you want your fans people to Google or look up other than the ones that have been talked about?
Yeah, but a lot of times,
other things that have not been discussed before.
Yeah, a lot of them happen at the house. A lot of them happen at the house shows. That's all.
Yeah, there's a lot of house show matches.
No, don't show them on TV unless they do it on TV. A few bad matches didn't like are on TV, but most of them are usually on the road. There's no television cameras. They usually say. As I see in a lot of interviews and talking about this house show this house show that.
Any closing statements at this time? Any closing remarks on Cena Orton?
Well, let's see what happens at Backlash. That's all I'm saying about that. I'm not saying who's going to win. Let's hope this match is a good match and nothing really happens. Because it'd be happening if anyone interferes in a match. That's the worst thing I do not like. A good match going that someone has to interfere. That is going to suck. And people will be talking about that all over the place after that.
I really don't think that there's going to be an interference for this one.
I know, but you never know what they're going to do at the last minute. You know what I mean?
True.
You never know what's going to happen.
Probably still come out.
They can do anything they want to without no one knowing it.
Yeah, so next week we're going to be talking about the rise and fall of AEW.
Okay.
This has been the Jedi 08 and Mike. This is the Broken